What's up, bookworms? This is Dani Reads, and today I'm bringing you my September book haul. So, in the month of September, I know I was supposed to be on a book buying ban, but I came into some money I wasn't expecting, and instead of it going to boring bills like all of our money has been, we decided that I should treat myself.
Treat yourself.
So this book haul is that I am not buying any more books for the rest of the year. That's it, I'm done. So without further ado, let's just get into what I bought because it's quite a lot. So if you didn't already know, the wedding theme that we went with for our wedding was Harry Potter. So for our first anniversary, which is paper, I decided to get her the special edition of Harry Potter in all 4 houses. So at first I was just going to get Gryffindor and Hufflepuff because she's a Gryffindor, I'm a Hufflepuff. But then I'm like, why not just get all 4? So here we are. And I like the paperbacks a little bit better than the hardcovers, only because the hardcovers were all black with just like the colored lettering, where these are like the full color. So they really pop on our shelves, and she loved them, by the way. So then the first store we went to was Barnes & Noble. It was totally on a whim, and we went a little crazy. And when I say we, I mean me. So let's just get into those books. So the first book that I picked up was This Savage Song by V.E. Schwab. I really loved A Darker Shade of Magic, and the premise of this book sounds so good. About a society where if you commit a crime, a monster is created. Depending on the severity of the crime, the worse the monster is, obviously. So yeah, I'm just really excited to get into it. I'm super happy it's only a duology. But I just picked up the first book just to make sure that I really enjoyed it before picking up the second one. The next book I picked up was Replica by Lauren Oliver. I honestly don't know too much about this one. I just picked it up because it's Lauren Oliver. And I thought it was pretty cool that it's told from 2 perspectives, and it's literally, you can literally alternate chapters or just read one person's story all the way through and then go back and read the other person's story all the way through. So I thought that was really, really cool. So yeah, I picked it up. And the next book I picked up is The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. I've heard nothing but really good things about this all over BookTube, so I figured I should probably pick it up. This was actually recommended to us by one of the bookstore associates. We were telling her that we kind of wanted something like historical fiction, and she's like, oh, this book. So I was like, oh my god, everyone's been talking about that, we should probably just get it. So I don't really know much about it. I know it's about like 3 friends who go on this adventure, and the main character is bisexual, so that's all I really need to know to get into this. I just ruined it. The next book I picked up that I have been wanting to get for quite a long time, and it's probably gonna sound really random, but it is The 100-Year-Old Man Who Climbed Out the Window and Disappeared by Jonason. I saw this book on BookTube a couple years ago by a couple different booktubers, and I can't for the life of me think who it was because it was so long ago. But they said they really liked this book, and it was like when it first came out, so it was really popular, and I just never got my hands on it. And finally I saw it at Barnes & Noble, and I was like, you know what, no, I need to just have this book. So that's why I had to pick it up. So it's pretty much about this guy who is going to turn 100, and he doesn't want to, so he climbs out of his nursing home window and just gets on a train, and then crazy things ensue because he gets wrapped up in some stuff. So I'm just really excited to get into this. The next book I picked out was We Are the Ants by Sean David Hutchinson. I picked this up strictly based on an indirect recommendation from Dylan the Reader 5. He's obsessed with this book, and I figured if he's this passionate about this, I need to pick it up and find out what it's about. So I pretty much bought it without knowing anything about it. I was reading the back once I got home, and it's essentially about this kid who gets abducted by aliens, and he has to make the decision if he's gonna press a button to end the world or not. So it sounds pretty interesting. I'm intrigued to know what else happens in this book, but yeah, so thanks Dylan for the recommendation. And the next book I picked up was actually spotted by my spouse first, and that is Wolf by Wolf by Ryan Groden. And the reason that she picked it up is that right on the cover it says, "What if the Nazis won the war?" So pretty much this book is how history would have gone if Hitler won. And I'm super intrigued by this because I kind of like books that have that write an alternate history and to kind of like lay out like, hey, this is what could potentially have happened if, you know, the other team won, essentially. So I seen Heather on Bookables rave about this book, so I'm actually really excited to get into it because pretty much everything that she likes I've really enjoyed. And the last book that I picked up at Barnes & Noble was The School of Good and Evil by Shomin Chainani. Help me in the comments, please, thanks. So I have seen people reading this book. It's definitely been out for a while. It is a children's book, or I got it like in the middle grade section, and it's about these two characters who are about to be assigned to these schools. So you either get assigned to the school of good or you get assigned to the school of evil, and these two characters actually get assigned to the opposite school of what they expected to be assigned to. So sounds really interesting. I don't want to really know much more about this going into it, but it seems like it's just going to be a really cute, fun read, and I'm excited to get into this series. So then the next day we decide that, well, I decide that I want to do more book shopping because while we have a little extra money, why not? Because I know I'm not going to be buying books for a while after this. So we went to Books A Million and I picked up a couple things, so let's just get into those. The first book that I picked up was We Should Hang Out Sometime by Josh Sundquist. I know people were raving about this book once it first came out. Josh Sundquist, I believe, is a YouTuber. Sorry, I didn't do my research. I'm pretty sure he's a YouTuber, but this book is about all of his failed relationships, or all of his failed dating, because any person that he's dated has never turned into a relationship. So he goes back and talks to all the girls that he had dates with and asks them what went wrong that it didn't turn into a relationship. And I feel like that is really ballsy. So I'm really excited to read this book to see just how far the questions go and what people have to say. The next book that I picked up was Stealing Snow by Danielle Page. I love the Dorothy Must Die series so much, and when I saw that she was writing a Snow White retelling, I just had to pick it up. Based on the premise, I'm kind of nervous about it though, because it is set in a psychiatric ward, and I hope that the representation of mental illness is good in this book, but I'm kind of nervous. So I did pick it up with caution, but I just really enjoyed Danielle Page's writing, so I am excited to get into this and just hoping it is what I expect it to be. The next book I picked up was The Diabolic by S.J. Kincaid. And I don't really know much about this book, but I know that a lot of people have it on their shelves. Like, I see it in the background of a lot of videos. And I know this kind of exploded for like a second on BookTube. This is pretty much about what they call diabolics, and they are assigned to protect one person for like their whole life, and their main character gets summoned by the Mad King, and her diabolic actually takes her place in going to the Mad King. So I'm super intrigued on this, and I want to read it. The next book I picked up was book number 3 in the Land of Stories, A Grim Morning by Chris Colfer. I have books 1 and 2. I have them all in paperback, so I'm slowly but surely just accumulating them. I think there's 6 in the entire series. I read the first 2, loved them. Can't wait to get into this one, but I'm definitely gonna have to reread the first 2 because I remember tiny details, but I don't remember a lot, so I just want to reread them and be back in these stories before getting into this one. And the last book I got at Books A Million was Suicide Notes from Beautiful Girls by Lynn Weingarten. And I didn't know a lot about this book, but I've seen that some people have liked it, so I was like, why not? I think it was only like $3. This is essentially about a girl who is found after a shed has been burned, so she burned to death, and people are marking it up as a suicide, but her best friend is going back and investigating and trying to find out what actually happened that night. So sounds really interesting. It's not very long, so I'm just intrigued to read it. Then we made our way over to Second and Charles, which discovering that we had a Second and Charles kind of near us was really exciting because I thought it was just a Canada thing. So I was excited. I've been there once before, but I don't really buy books from there. So this is the first time that I was buying books, and they actually had a really good deal. It was buy 3 books, get your 4th one free. So I had to do it. So the first book that I picked up was The Accident Season by Maura Fowley Doyle. I really didn't know a lot about this book. I know that it went around BookTube when it first came out, and this is essentially about a family who every certain part of the year accidents just happen, and sometimes they're minor accidents like scrapes and bruises, and then one of the accident seasons actually caused the father's death. So one of the daughters in this family is like, hey, wait, no, like this isn't okay. We need to figure out why we keep having these accidents. And that's where the story begins, is them trying to, or at least her trying to figure out why this accident season keeps happening. And I was intrigued enough to pick it up. The next book I picked up was The Rule of Thought by James Dashner. This is the second book in the, it's not the Eye of Minds trilogy. I don't know what it's actually called, but this is the sequel to the Eye of Minds. And I actually picked up the first book and the third book not realizing that. So when I saw the second book to complete the trilogy, I was like, I had to pick it up. I enjoyed the Maze Runner a lot, so I was really excited to start this series, but now that it's complete, I can actually start it. The next book I picked up was Everything by Nicola Yoon. I've heard nothing but great things, and I definitely want to read this before watching the movie. I haven't heard a lot about if the movie is even comparable to the book or anything like that, so if you've read the book and seen the movie, let me know down below. Or if you've just seen the movie, just let me know if it's like good or not, like quality wise, I guess. But everyone's been talking about this. This is about a girl who is, I think she's like allergic to everything, so she can't go outside, and then she meets this boy, and you know, things happen. So I'm excited to read it. I don't read contemporary very often. When I'm really in the mood, I'm definitely gonna be picking this up. And the last book that I picked up from Second and Charles was Beauty Queens by Libba Bray. With all of the stuff that's going around right now about Hollywood producing a movie with a Lord of the Flies but female version, and this book already existing, I knew I just had to support her, so I picked this up. It's ridiculous. So essentially, if you haven't guessed, this book is pretty much a Lord of the Flies retelling with beauty queens. They crash on an island and all hell breaks loose, essentially. So I'm super excited to get into this. It sounds really, really fun. And yeah, I mean, I've enjoyed Libba Bray's other works, so I'm sure this won't be any different. So then about a week and a half after Second and Charles, we were at dinner, and there was a huge Barnes & Noble right by the restaurant we were at, and we decided to walk in, and 2 books caught my eye, so we picked them up. And the first one is Blood by Blood by Ryan Groden. We figured since we already have the first one, why not finish the duology? Because if we love the first one, we can go right back into and we can jump into the second one. When I say we, I mean my spouse and I, obviously. Like I said about Wolf by Wolf, it's about if the Nazis won the war, so this is just the continuation and conclusion of that story. And last but certainly not least is Warcross by Marie Lu. As soon as I saw it, I was like, I need that, because I thought I pre-ordered it and I didn't. So it was in my cart, and then I think something happened where I had to take it out for something else or whatever. So I thought I pre-ordered it, but I didn't. So now it's in my hands, and I'm so excited. I'm so happy that so many people have been raving about this book, because I've been so excited since I found out that it was even going to be a thing. I'm so excited to just have this. So this book is about virtual reality, and our main character is a hacker. She ends up hacking into the game somehow, and the creator of the game brings her in and offers her a job. That's all I know. That's all I want to know. I want to go into this as blind as possible, but I'm so excited I have this in my hands, and this will definitely be my next read. Alright guys, well that is all I have for you today. Thank you for sitting through that extremely long video. I'm sorry there was a lot of books, but if you've read any of these books, please leave a comment down below, or if there's any books that you want me to bump up to the top of my TBR, let me know. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and I will see you guys in my next video. keep reading, keep smiling. Bye guys.